Hello, you guys. I know it's long overdue, but let's do this. The reunion part 2 of Ready to Love. Let's just get right into things. First of all, Kadian talking about slapping everybody. Like, what does everybody else have to do with the beef you have with Cherise? That ain't got nothing to do with anybody else. And normally people that say they're gonna slap everybody, it's all mouth. They would never be able to do that stuff. So I don't know how it escalated to that point, but sometimes Kadian needs to just be quiet and just shut up, because don't threaten people with things that you know you can't do. Okay? And then Kayla pipes up and is like, enough! And I'm like, okay, I never expected her to get that emotional to the point of tears coming from her eyes and her yelling and saying that she wanted them to stop and why are black women like this and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting considering the way they've edited Kayla. She is not a girl's girl. She's it's a me type of situation for her. So like, I'm confused. I mean, if it was coming from anybody else, I would have been able to understand where she was coming from, but because it came from Kayla specifically, it looks kind of phony. It looks interesting. It's making me feel as if they chopped up some things and put things in different places so that the whole layout of events is just choppy. It's not in alignment. Then they speak on the situation with Justice and Looney, which baffles my mind, because from what we've gotten from Justice, and I truly believe that's how he is, he wasn't willing to open up and chase any woman and really open up to anybody. So I'm a little bit confused as to why he was picked as a good candidate for a show that requires you to open up. It just is beyond me. He had to be there strictly for entertainment purposes. Why she was so into him, I have no clue, but it was an interesting part of the show that I didn't particularly care for because I didn't understand it. So Justice is talking about, oh, he did speak to people, like he didn't limit himself to, and he had to make it known that it's women he reached out to. Like, am I missing something? Is Justice gay, or is he trying to cover the fact that he may potentially be attracted to men? Because I don't understand how that aspect came into anything. Like, obviously you'd be conversing with women, you know what I'm saying? So Kadian cackles because, like, where that coming from? He's continuing to justify his BS. His explanation of the situation with Looney makes no sense to me. If it's a good connection, sometimes you have to separate and come back. Like, what are you talking about? If it's a good connection, you stay together and try to figure out each other and see if you guys work together. I don't understand this. It more so seems like he's stalling as opposed to stepping back and evaluating things. That's crazy. It seems like what it is was that it wasn't gonna be a situation where they start out as friends. It was gonna be a situation where they was gonna go fully into something, and it scared him because he's afraid of commitment. He has an avoidant type of personality. So whatever hurt that he experienced, he clearly hasn't healed from it. It's to the point where the way he's approaching relationships is off. Nobody understands it. Looney gets upset because she feels as if he's talking some BS. She runs outside. He follows behind her. She asks for a moment. She ends up in a parking lot. He goes to the parking lot. And he doesn't even say anything much. And it's like she completely forgives him. To the point where later on she comes back on the episode holding hands with him, which for the life of me, I don't understand. Is that how we really look? Like, is this how stupid we look? Like, if we were to ever watch ourselves going through this relationship jungle. Is that how dumb we really look? It's crazy. Then they speak on Samson and his gifts. And for me personally, I never thought that that was an issue. At the end of the day, nobody guides them in terms of how they're supposed to navigate dating multiple women who are gonna go back and tell each other, oh, he did this for me, oh, he didn't do that for me. I feel like his approach was a good approach because you're making all of them know that they're important and they're respected, and you're not really giving anybody special treatment per se. You're getting to know all of them. And I think what they craved was for these guys to claim them and say, okay, or for these guys to make them feel like they're the only one, which to me is a little unfair because the name of the process requires you to search and figure things out as much as you can, before the process ends. So I did not see that as being a problem, but a lot of people read it as he wasn't being genuine. He wasn't really feeling anybody per se. Everybody felt like they were on the same playing field. And in my mind, I'm like, so like, I didn't see the big deal. Like, especially when he was on Crystal XO. I think he did this interview today or yesterday or something, and he was explaining that actually pretty early on in the process he realized that his person wasn't on the show and he wanted to self-eliminate, and they wouldn't allow him to do so. So with that knowledge being put into light, it's like I completely understand why he was treating everybody equally. It's because nobody was a front runner. Nobody really had him to the point where he wanted to specifically focus on one person, and he couldn't leave. So in a sense, he was just making the best out of the situation he was dealt with, and that was what it was. And I feel like a lot of cast members deal with this than they'd like to admit. And for viewers, it comes across like, oh, he's just playing around. He doesn't want anybody. What do you want him to do? He can't leave. I mean, if people just started dropping out, this show would not last for a month. It would last for 2 weeks. If people were just allowed to just quit, this show would never be. So imagine you being asked to stay in a situation. You know you have no one there for you, but you have to act as if you're interested in the rest of these people. Like, what do you think you're gonna do? How do you think you're going to come across to viewers watching you? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so he was in Crystal XO's interview. He was basically saying that his initial attractions was, I think he said, Looney and Shakira. Shakira ended up leaving. Looney ended up leaving. Looney never seemed like she was interested in Samson, so I know that wouldn't really work. She was more so interested in Justice. And also with Shakira, I didn't know where Shakira was. I didn't know who she was really into, because it appeared like she was into everybody that was interested in her. So that may have worked, but I didn't see him really, really going after Shakira in a way that, made me believe like that's the person you are so into. It may have been the way it was edited, but it just didn't come across on the TV screen. But Krista finally asked him, it's interesting that you never mentioned Charisse, but Charisse is the one you kind of made it with almost towards the end. And he's like, well, when these women left, he kind of had only two choices. It was either Charisse or it was Brandy. And he kept on mentioning, oh, they were telling me step out of my comfort zone. So in that light, that's why I guess he moved over to Charisse, because Brandy was set on Mike. He wasn't gonna be able to penetrate that wall with Brandy. So Charisse was basically his default. And that's basically what it is. And he was defending Charisse a lot and speaking about how she is misunderstood and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's just quite interesting that he mentioned that the person he was truly interested in was Shakira, but because she left early, he couldn't develop that relationship. Because my thinking of it is, well, if that was the one that you were truly interested in, and of course you cannot leave the process, fine. Why don't you just get yourself eliminated, and focus on you and Shakira and building that bond. But I don't think that's what he did. Sharice mentioned he telling her, oh, he wished it could have worked out better. Like, these men giving these women mixed signals and wonder why they act like Jamala, being possessive, being territorial. It's because they don't show you what these men say to these women behind closed doors. All you see is the women reacting to what these men say. The men don't get the backlash because you simply don't see what they communicate to the women. The women get the backlash because their reaction to what the men told them or were telling them is what is shown, and that is unfortunate. So he has a girlfriend now, and the thing I don't like about Samson, he kept on throwing the fact that almost as if saying he saved Sharice because the men were not interested in her. And that might very well be the case of the situation, but still, throwing that in her face every chance you get as if she's supposed to be grateful and be quiet is a little bit ridiculous to me. She has a right to feel how she feels. If she feels like you didn't claim her or you didn't like let everybody know that she's the one you were gonna be pursuing, she has a right to be dissatisfied with that, because that's not what she wants. You know, for you to act like she must almost kiss your feet is crazy, and it's uncalled for. So the Swayze and Kadian situation is like, yes, we know that they're a couple now. She couldn't wait to post them the minute she, I guess, was told she could do it. It was way before the season ever ended. So we didn't even get a chance to guess what may have happened. She decided, okay, since the show is gonna make me and Swayze's situation out to be a failure, I'm going to prove to people via my social media that it wasn't a failure and that we're still together. And it's like, okay, you accomplished that, but in the meantime, you're kind of like hurting people's viewing experience because they don't get to figure it out at the end. They get to figure it out midway, which is kind of annoying. But she wanted to step in front of the narrative and, you know, put out her own situation to put her in a more positive light. Anyways, they're together. Nobody's shocked. I've known this for a while. I don't know how they're able to navigate their communication situation, because to me it's not like they took a while apart to figure themselves out. Like, they came together, I think, 2 weeks after they left the show. So I don't know, maybe they be outside of cameras they were able to work it out, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna spend too long on that because we already know that they're together. It is what it is. Then they touch on the situation with Swayze, saying that, you know, at some point he was exclusively dating non-black women. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, if you feel the need to vocalize that you dated only a certain type of women that wasn't black, is your prerogative. Like, do what you want. I'm not gonna be angry with somebody because they didn't date me or other black women. That's their business. Like, it is what it is. Looney did step in to, I guess, give a side of what people are upset about with Swayze, but I didn't really care, and I didn't make it a big deal, because whatever he does is his business, and Kadian has to deal with that, not me. He was interested in Kadian, so clearly it's not that he's not attracted to black women. It's just that he was experimenting and decided, okay, I'm only gonna, I don't know what it was. He's gonna have to explain that further. But the thing with Swayze is, when he speaks, I don't even know what he says. His vocabulary is so limited that I don't even know what he says, what he means. I don't know. Then the triangle between, what's his name, Randall, Kayla, Tranika, and Jamala. Now, on an interview with, I believe it was Crystal XO, he made he made some comments about the situation, and he basically said he's the one that initially love bombed Jamala. He saw Jamala from the get-go and decided that that's the person he wanted. He kind of narrowed himself from the very beginning. I know they make it seem as if he made himself open to that process, but he really didn't. He narrowed in on Jamala from the beginning. He saw her body and that's what he wanted. Furthermore, he spoke with her, felt like she was the easiest person to speak to, the most comfortable person to speak to, whatever the case may be. She was very reluctant towards him in the beginning. Then he's love bombing her. Then eventually she opens up and starts claiming him, to the point where we viewers are like, whoa, like, why are you claiming him so soon? We haven't seen him claim you. Whole time behind the scenes, he admits to love bombing her. And then when she starts reciprocating, he doesn't know what to do. She starts being jealous, demanding, possessive, and he gets scared and runs away. That's essentially what it was. They were being very vague on the show, not wanting to spill much tea, but anybody could put two and two together. And then we have Chanika. Chanika was upset because in the interview with Little Black Book, she states that it's because, after the date with her and Randall, during the date with her and Randall, Jamala was literally staring at their date through the window the entire time, which to me is crazy, because I understand you feeling a little bit jealous and possessive. To me, that's normal in the beginning when you really like somebody and you see them dating other people. Of course, you're gonna be jealous. But for you to be jealous to the point where you're outside, like, looking through the window at these people's date, that's a bit much. Like, why would you put yourself through that mental torture? Like, you already know you're in a process that's quite difficult to navigate, knowing that your interest is gonna be dating other people. Why are you making it worse by wanting to see the process in front of your face? That's crazy to me. On top of that, she was pissed off because during the day, Chanika wins. And you'd think she'd win because you'd think they have a closer connection, but I guess Chanika knows him more. So they go to the kitchen and they're having lunch or they're looking for something to eat. And Jamala does something. I think what she does is she opens up the drawer when Chanika was in front of it and hit Chanika's leg. And it's like she didn't care. Clearly, she's sending a message that she's unhappy with something. Maybe with Chanika being on a date with Rara, as she likes to call him. But anyways, the reason why Chanika had smoke for her is because of that reason. She said she was cordial with the women, and Chanika was like, she wasn't cordial with me. She wasn't nice to me. I did nothing to her but do what I'm supposed to do as far as the show's requirements were concerned. And as far as my dating situation was concerned. And then we hear of Randall running out somewhere, and then she's asking him if he's okay. He's saying no, and they're seeing Jamala running behind him and just being very aggressive, as far as like Randall is concerned and other women are concerned. So that's why Chanika is like, he doesn't even claim you outside of this. He doesn't even claim you outside of this. That's basically why she had to say that, which is understandable, because Jamala makes it seem as if it's other women that were like jumping on her, when it's really she's not taking accountability for how she navigated the situation. Like, your issue and your beef is with Randall. Why take it out on the other women? The other women are looking out for their self-interest. You look out for yours, But anyways, it's a little understandable. But in regards to, let's speak on Kayla. Now, I was watching Kayla throughout this episode, throughout this season, and I felt as if she was doing too much. Like, the facial expressions, even her saying, like, for example, Jamala was basically explaining that the reason why Randall had to go to Kayla's room, or why Kayla was in his room, was to clarify to Kayla that he was going to go pursue Jamala instead. He didn't end up doing that because of Jamala's antics. She ended up coming into the room and making a fool of herself. So, and as Randall was saying, she didn't allow him to do it the way he wanted to do it, because she stormed in, and that kind of ruined or everything. Like, who would want to be with somebody and cut off their other connections after they do something like that? It was kind of like perfect timing, because before he decided to completely cut off Kayla, when he saw what Jamala did, he's like, okay, never mind, because if she's gonna act this way, let me not cut off my other options, which is completely understandable. And then Kayla interrupts Jamala and she's like, what? Well, if you said that that was what you were supposed to do, then why did you do all these things? And she's like, oh, well, it's because, didn't you hear? I said that he didn't communicate that with me. Clearly, he did communicate that with you. You guys did communicate that he was gonna tell Kayla that he was gonna pursue you, that the communication happened, right? So it's not that he didn't communicate. He did communicate. It's just that the way things took place, you jumped out of your skin, you let your emotions lead, and you did some dumb stuff. And that's what it was. That's why Kayla was like, then why'd you do that? It's truly a valid question. You know, if you guys already spoke about it and he's gonna be doing what you guys spoke about, why would you come and intercept that and ruin that situation, ruin that moment, you know, and make it seem like it's his fault or he's the one that you didn't allow him to do it. Jumpy self. So in the end, they're still figuring stuff out. And it's like, just cut the lies. You guys are not figuring anything out. You look done. So why are you lying to us? You're not figuring anything out, you know? And then we learned that to put insult to injury on Jamaica's Chanika and Kayla was, I wouldn't say they ganged up on her, but they had stuff that they needed to let her know, you know? And it seems like she was ganged up on, but they're all adults. And then to hear that Randall is saying, oh, he still goes out with Kayla and he still goes out with Chanika, that's a huge slap in the face for Jamala, because it's like, I at least think that you'd have my back. And he's like, girl, I'm so done with you. You have no clue. To the point where I went back to the people I rejected and decided to give them another shot. That's crazy. Jamala looks like a clown in this instance. Like, I'm sorry, but they made her out to look like a clown. So the Mike, Kayla, Brandy situation, people are saying that Brandy and Mike are clearly not together. They just are putting on a face for the camera. But I saw she recently posted a picture of her and Mike. I don't know, because people could have taken pictures from 1992 and posted it now in 2022, and people would feel as if, oh, this is happening now, when really it happened 50 years ago or whatever the case may be. So with Jamala, with Kayla and Brandy, and I don't know how the relationship is gonna play out. I don't know how sustainable their relationship is, but for now, I guess it looks like they're good. I guess from Kayla's perspective, as I said before, she felt as if Mike was juggling her and Brandy, when as viewers, what we saw was Mike clearly just focusing on Brandy. So I don't know. We just cannot relate to Kayla and what she's talking about because we didn't see it. But the synopsis of and Kayla likes to throw little passive aggressive jabs. Like, for example, she said, well, for the type of woman Mike wants, perhaps Brandy is the better choice. So I'm almost saying as if, not really saying, maybe we're the one projecting what she means, but it appears as if she means Brandy is a lesser female and he requires a lesser female. When I say lesser, I mean not so powerful, not alpha, like not so strong, you know, a softer woman, a malleable woman, you know, is what Brandy is. Brandy was ready to change flight schedules, do all kinds of things during the dating process. She was ready to do all that for Mike, which nobody should, which no woman who dates should ever do. I mean, it's too soon for you to be changing your life around and schedule around for a man that you don't know. You're just dating him. I'm pretty sure she had never met his children during that process. I've never met his mom, and already willing to change her whole life for him. That's Brandy. She's malleable and flexible in that way. I don't think Kayla would be that way. So it's just simple. He found his fit with Brandy and is with Brandy. This is what it is. Whether their relationship lasts, I have no clue. If she likes it, I love it. I don't think he's such a great price to have. I mean, I guess, okay, you're attracted to him physically, but beyond that, I just don't know what it is about Mike. People are saying that Mike flaunts his junk all over social media. I don't know if he does OnlyFans or if he does pornography. I don't know what it is, but he's always naked on social media. So if Brandy is okay with that, that's fine as well. So yeah, that was their segment. I'm not gonna go too much into it. That's really what it was. So listen to what Mike says. He says they're gonna start dating exclusively. So the entire time he's still been out here in these streets. I don't think she's been out here in these streets, but he's surely been. And now he's ready to start dating just her. And if it goes well, whatever the case is. Do I feel like he really has long-term intentions with Brandy? No. Do I feel like he has a crush on her? Yes. Do I think this is gonna last? No. Do I think that they should explore their stuff and have a good time? Yes. Okay. It is what it is. Then they do the little bloopers. Looney doing the I don't know what the flexibility thing that the date that they were on, and Justice being scared of cockroaches, and then Samson talking about being freaky and whatever the case may be. And they speak on Tranika's whole vibration like thing that she does. She uses these Chinese bells that's supposed to like thing that whatever it does to vibrations and whatever it is. And they were like, maybe we needed that at the reunion. And people were like, oh, maybe that they were not enough of those bells to be able to make any type of difference. So Jamala lets it be known that it's sad that her main connection is not gonna have me in any type of romantic situation, neither a friendship, and that's sad. I guess it is, but it's better to know these things quickly than to waste your time with somebody that was never meant for you in the first place. So kudos to her. I hope she really lets him go, because they're not good together. They have different attachment styles. He's avoidant and she's anxious. Randall had nothing to say. And Kayla giving this uplifting speech about black people this, black people that. Whole time she was making faces during the entire reunion, part 1 and part 2, and people are like, what a hypocrite. Like, you out of all people. Like, if it was somebody else, we would have received it, but because it's you, it's like, we're like, shut up, just shut up. Anyways, you guys, that's it for the reunion. Let me know what you thought about what took place for part 2. Are you ready to see more Ready to Love? We always love Ready to Love. I cannot wait for Put a Ring on It. I actually love reviewing Put a Ring on It because it's very lovely to review. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and see you guys next time for another review from me, Melissa, in the Ranting Shop. Bye bye.